Okay, let's get started. I'm so excited to be able to host today's team call, particularly because today's July 1st. Yesterday was my birthday, and not only is it my birthday, but I really I'm such a goal setting nerd, and the fact that my birthday is right what like the next day is the beginning of the second half of the year. I love that. I love like we have exactly 6 months left till the end of the year, and it's a new opportunity to really figure out how's your year going and what are you going to do with it. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Before we get into that, though, I think a lot of you, I'm looking at who's on, already got your Morning Meltdown 100, and I hope you're super excited about it. This is not only is it going to be an amazing workout. I love listening to her on our national wake up call today, and she's inspiring and all things girl crush, but also this because it's so exciting and because so many of us are so happy to do Morning Meltdown 100, this can really be a way for us to blow up our business, because that excitement is what we need to be able to share and get people to want to join us. So I'm really excited to see how many of you guys have already ordered your Morning Meltdown 100 and are going to do it, and how many of you already did do it. I thought that was the coolest thing, that you bought it and then immediately it was already in your bod and you could get started. So I did it. I have Hashimoto's, and so apparently I can't get too hardcore, so I'm going to be doing the modified version. But even that, I was sweating and my heart rate went up. So it's a really, really good program. I'm super excited for it. Okay, so like I said, we have exactly 6 months left in the year. So it's a really good time to reflect and organize and start thinking about what goals you want to set. And then just remember that goals are meant to stretch you. Their purpose isn't for you to actually reach the goal. Obviously, once you reach the goal, that's exciting. But the point of setting big goals is that it's going to stretch you. It's going to make you show up as your best self and do the things that you told yourself you were going to do every single day. And by the time your goal date comes along, if you didn't reach your goal, that's okay. You still, if you were showing up every day, you still learned, you still are probably way further ahead than where you thought you were going to be, or where you were at the beginning. So I think that's really important. And we're going to be talking about that today. Your mindset around goal setting, so that it isn't something that's scary or that makes you feel defeated. We shouldn't set goals and then feel sad about them or paralyzed or nervous. It should be something that makes you feel really excited, and makes you pushes you out of your comfort zone. So for example, a lot of you on here might not be diamond coaches yet, and that might have been something that has been in your heart for a long time, and you're I'm gonna get to diamond, and that's gonna happen, but you haven't actually set a goal date for yourself. I would encourage, especially if you are already an emerald coach, at this point, set the goal date of July 31st. It's 31 days to get to diamond. And I understand that if you haven't done that, or you've set goals for yourself and you haven't reached them, it could feel daunting, but that's not the purpose. The purpose of you setting the goal of getting to diamond by the end of this month is that you're going to hustle. You're going to talk to people. You're going to be excited. You're going to show up for yourself. And then if the 31st comes around and for whatever reason, if you didn't make it, you're going to be so far ahead. You're going to look back to today and be like, but look at all I accomplished. Who even cares if I didn't get to the goal? I'll just move the goal to 2 more weeks or to the end of August. And then you're going to eventually hit your goals, and you're going to eventually make all of those things come true. But you have to have urgency for yourself. And when we don't set goals, we don't create that urgency in ourselves, and you end up just kind of coasting. And that's what we want to avoid, right? So I actually I don't know if you guys have heard of the book 12 Week Year. Barbie has been talking about it a ton, and I had read it a while ago. And since she was talking about it, I was like, okay, whatever Barbie does, like she is doing amazing, right? So I'm like, whatever she's doing, let's do this. So I read the book again, and it teaches you how to pretend that the next 12 weeks is basically an entire year. So you set big goals, and they teach you how to break them down into like a small amount of things. So say one of your goals is to make $500 a week or $500 a month, whatever your goal is, right? You then think like, okay, so what do I need to do to get to that goal? And you come up with the top maximum 4 to 5 things that are going to help you get to that goal. It shouldn't be like this big long list of 100 things that you need to do, because also we all know the 80-20 rule. 20% of the activities will get you 80% of the results. So you just really buckle down and focus on that little bit, those little things that you need to do every single day. And then you score yourself. And if you're interested in this, get the book. I have it on audio because I don't read, I listen. It's just faster for me. But you can, like, I can share mine with you after the call if you want. I have an Excel sheet because I'm a nerd, and I can go in every day and like X out, and then you tally up your week. And if you're doing 80% of your tasks every week, then you're on track. You're going to see results. And that's the whole point. Like becoming accountable to yourself. And we did this a while ago, and it was really, really awesome. And one of the things that I had volunteered to do is that if any of you, and I'll do it again, if any of you come up with your list of things, I will totally happily run through them with you to see if, because I've been doing this forever, I can tell you like, oh no, like you'd be better to spend your time doing this or that so that you do get to your goal. So that I just wanted to throw that out there. That isn't what the call is going to be about, but if you're interested in like setting some new goals for the remainder of the year, because I don't know about you, like, but if we're being completely honest, I'm not where I thought I was going to be 6 months into the year. Like I had set really huge goals. I had set really big goals for myself for Summit, and I'm nowhere near. Like I'm like basically at the same place I was when I started the year. And that, like, I get to make that choice now. Like, I don't want to end the year like this. I want to end the year and feel like, whoa, look at what I did this past year. And 6 months is plenty of time. Like it's so like enough time to really chip away at some big goals. So like if you did do like you goal set at the beginning of the year, you totally could just take those goals and say, okay, I'm going to apply them to the remaining 6 months of the year rather than like have an entire year. That's also a big thing with the 12-week year is that he's like, if you give yourself a year to do something, you're going to take a year. And so your first month, you're not really going to do anything because you don't have any urgency. And then like not until it's close to the end of the year, you're like, oh my gosh, I only have 4 months left. Like I better get to work. Where if you give yourself a shorter time period, then you'll get all the work done without the coasting, without the doing nothing for a few months. So I want to invite you guys to stop playing it safe. Like, let's stop setting small goals or setting no goals at all. Because this is a business, and the only way that you're actually going to see growth in your business is when you challenge yourself and you stretch yourself and you say, like, I'm going to get to diamond, or I want to make X amount of money every month. And I always feel weird talking about this because I am that personality type that's very goal-oriented and driven. But we have to always remember that is directly tied to your family, to if you make a better income, like what does that mean for your kids? What does that mean for your household income? Like is the pressure on your marriage? Like what does that money mean for your life? And then also what does that money mean, or what does you inviting people mean for the people that need you? Like we have answers, we have solutions, we are doing something that works, and there are people out there that need this. And if we're not inviting them, we're being selfish, right? Like that post that I shared from Nicole Johnson was so good today, where she basically says this, right? Like if you're not sharing your answers with other people, then what are you doing? Like how selfish of us, knowing how to help people feel better and not sharing it. So let's play bigger. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going through my notes. I'm like, I already talked about that. Okay, and I think one of the things also that happens is that we've all set big goals, and like I said, I had big goals for myself for that I wanted to have accomplished by June, and I'm not there, and I could feel defeated and feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to my goals. You know what? And this is something that I see often is that people will say, you know what? I'm going to take the pressure off of myself and I'm just going to not set goals because like maybe you want to get to diamond. You're like, you know what? I'm just not going to tell myself I want to get to diamond because that puts too much pressure on me. And then it takes the joy out of my business. And then I'm just not having fun. And I feel like a failure when I don't hit my goals. Like I've felt all these things, but when you give yourself that out and you're like, I'm just not going to set goals, then you don't do anything, right? Like, and I've seen this in lots of coaches that have come and gone that they'll say, you know what, I'm just not going to set goals because it's just too much pressure. And then they don't do anything. And then a few months down the road, they're like, well, this business didn't work for me. It's like, well, no, girl, you didn't do the work. That's why it didn't work for you. This business will work for anybody who wants to put in the work and show up. And that doesn't mean work all day and spend your entire life on social media. That means like being really intentional with your 1 to 2 hours a day or however much time you have to set aside for your business. You just have to set those goals, take those action steps and get closer every single day so that every single month, at the end of the month, you're like, I'm a little bit closer and that feels so good rather than like, oh my gosh, I'm in the same place I was last month. What am I doing? And that's when we start questioning ourselves and wondering if coaching is for us, and it has nothing to do with that. It's only that we're not doing the things that we need to do. Okay, and I did want to mention that big goals mean different things for everybody, right? Like I do this full time. So my big goal is $3,000 a week because I have the time and I have the team already that we've already built that is an actual possibility if I put my head down and get to work. If you are just getting started, then maybe your big stretch goal is $200 a week, $300 a week. And that isn't, the point is that it should be a goal that kind of makes your stomach hurt, kind of makes you want to throw up, kind of makes you feel like, oh, like if your cousin came over and asked you, what are you working on? And you told them you almost don't want to say it because they're going to laugh at you because it's like a little too big, right? But that's exactly the type of goal that's going to make you excited and help you wake up in the morning and get after it and do things so that I don't think it matters if you don't get to the $200, $300 a week by the end of the year. Like you're going to be closer and eventually you'll get to that. And then you build confidence. Like once you reach that goal, you're like, I can do this. Look at what I just did. Now let me set a bigger goal. And then you set bigger goals and bigger goals. And that's how you'll eventually be able to reach all of your dream goals. Like, I don't know all of your personal stories, but I know a lot of you want to make enough money to like cover your full-time income. And that's how it happens, like a little bit at a time, setting smaller goals that you reach and you're like, yes, I did that. And then you set a little bit bigger goal and like, it will happen. There's nothing special about me and Jazz and Christine. I mean, we're special, but there's nothing that we don't teach you guys that we did. Like the only thing is that we set these goals. We didn't make those goals plenty of time. Like I remember when Jazz quit her job, I was like, I want to quit my job. Like that hurt, like watching her. Because I think at that point we lived together, like leaving to work and having her be here. I was like, oh, but like it's seeing her made me go out and continue. Right. And so whatever it is, like we're not special, just decide what you want and then go for it. And if it doesn't happen by the date that you wanted it, just keep going and it will happen eventually. We're already spending 1 to 2 hours on Instagram. Everybody, like people that don't have a Beachbody business, everybody is spending 1 to 2 hours on Instagram scrolling through. Like, why not make it intentional rather than have that be your time where you unplug, have that be your time where you're putting in work, and have those 1 to 2 hours become something that makes you an income and changes your life rather than where you just go and like feel bad about yourself because all these pretty girls or these girls with abs, or you're just unplugging, listen, watching reading funny memes, which totally guilty of, but like have your time to play, but make sure that you have your time to work. So hopefully you guys are starting to think like, okay, you're right, Karina. Yeah, I do need to have a really big goal that is going to push me every single day. And there should be a goal like by the end of this month. And it doesn't have to be diamond. It has to be whatever it is that pushes you and stretches you and is in alignment with what you want. Because we're all different, right? Like maybe you want maybe you just want to make a few $100 a week, whatever it is. And like I said, myself, I know that Jazz, Christina, all of us will become available to you if you are like, I think I want this. This is my goal. How do I do it? How do I backtrack into this? I'd be so happy to talk to you about that. Depending on, again, like the only way this works is if you're excited about these goals and they're in alignment with you and they're true to you and they're going to help you become your best version of yourself. They can't be my goals. Like, obviously, like I said, to me, although you can get to diamond by the end of the month, but if that's not your goal, that's not your goal. So not hitting a goal isn't the failure. And we've all heard this. You fail when you don't even try. Because at that point, you're like, you're not doing anything. Your life is going to be exactly the same as it is right now. But if you do try and you don't hit your goal, that wasn't a failure. That was a learning moment. At the very least, if you didn't move your business forward by the end of this month, but you did things, you worked your business, at the very least, you learned. You learned what didn't work. You learned what things spark up conversations, like whatever it is. But that's not a failure. That's you learning. I don't know if you guys listen to Angie Lee. I'm going to totally do a plug for her podcast. I think it's just called The Angie Lee Show. And it is so good. And she always talks about, because I think she's an ex-Beachbody coach who now just really likes to do like the business training part. And so she trains on like fitness coaches, health and fitness coaches. And so that's what her podcast is all about. And she's like, the only difference between me and you, her being someone who's making $1 million a year, is she's like, I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to mess up. I'm willing to look stupid. And I'm willing to do it over and over because that's how I learn and that's how I tweak and adjust and then get better. So like, let's do that, right? Like, let's be those types of girls that are like, I don't care. You can laugh at me. I did this wrong. I sent the wrong name to the wrong person. Like, I mess up all the time. But at least that means that I'm trying. And then I can adjust the next month or realize, like, okay, like, this is what you need to do different. But failure is just, it doesn't exist unless you don't try. So what we're going to do is we're going to set big goals. Figure out what your big goal is for this month. I really think we need to have like a big monthly goal so that you've got that urgency, like that, like, oh my gosh, I need to get this done by this month in a fun way, right? Like, don't make it a goal that like, you're not going to sleep, you're not going to see your kids ever. Like, no, like figure out how much time you have, figure out what a big goal, something that's going to stretch you, that isn't going to come easily, but it's not like outlandish. So you set your goal. And then figure out what your goal would be by the end of 12 weeks and then what your goal is going to be by December 31st. Because like I said, 6 months is plenty of time. That's enough to change your life. Hi, Mommy, you're done? Can you put it in the sink? Yeah, Tia Jazz is on there. She's in the kitchen. She's right here. Sorry, she thinks Tia Jazz is there? Say hi, girls. Okay, so we're going to figure out what our goals are. Create urgency and excitement for yourself. If you guys like this call, this is very much stuff that I learned from Josh Coates. I can talk about how to create urgency and excitement because that's the difference between, you can do your checklist, but if you're not excited and you don't have a set like goal date, you're going to miss the mark. You know, like you see people show up and do like check the boxes, they do the things, but they're not excited or they're not thinking of ways to be creative. And then that falls flat. The girls. And then I just wanted to remind you guys that Morning Meltdown 100 is the perfect time to do this. Like Beachbody's like, okay, you guys, you have 6 months left in the year. Here's the perfect program to get you excited and get you to crushing your goals. Remember that I think one of the coolest things about MM100 is that you can do it with 2B mindset. You can do it with a portion fix. You can go all out and be like expert fitness level, or you can be a beginner and follow the modification. There's 2 different modifiers. Like anybody can do this program. Hold on, when I'm done, okay? Give me a second. And then, yeah, after. Okay, and it's just Morning Meltdown is like the perfect program for us to really get excited around and rally and do together and get amazing results together, and help all the people out there that also had fitness goals that it's now June and they're like, dang it, I didn't reach my goals. I'm just gonna quit and I'll try again next year. Like, we have 6 months. We all know what you can accomplish physically in 6 months, and we have that gift to give people. Jazz, did you want to say something? I'll unmute you.
Hi guys, I'm sick. So no, but I'm loving it. Thank you, Karina.
Oh, I thought you were trying to, because you were.
Sorry, I was.
Got it. Okay, well, that was it. If anybody has any questions about anything, or if anybody wants to share what their big goals are, if anybody wants to listen to the it's called 12-week year, I'll post it once I post the recording. So you guys, because it is a little hard to get through, because he's like a really boring old man talking, but it is really good information. I tried to see if I could find like a YouTube or something that would give me like the concise version, and there wasn't. It is really good information. It's just one of those that's a little harder to get through. But yeah, that's everything. You guys ready to take a picture? Just like, no. Yes, you are. You got that pregnancy glow. I'll filter you. I'm just kidding. Hold on. Okay. Say cheese. I don't know how to take pictures. I always block my face. There we go. All right, girls. Thank you so much for hopping on. 6 months. We're going to do big things. It's going to be a good last semester. All right. Bye, girls.